Hello there, Biakamuso desu and welcome to the review of the first volume of the Dark Pictures Anthology. So we are still going on our streak of supermassive games, and this time I'm going to be tackling all the 4 games present in the first volume of the Dark Pictures Anthology. I could have made a video for each one of them, but I thought, they are such short experiences. I went back and watched how many hours I played for each game. It was more or less 6 hours per game, and I was like, why make a review for each other that is gonna end up being a small review when I could just, because at the end of the day, I'm gonna be comparing how the mechanics, graphics, and all things have evolved since the first game of the anthology has come out up until the last game. So, starting by telling what are the games present in this anthology. We start out with Man of Medan, then we go to Little Hope, proceed to the House of Ashes, and finally we end up with The Devil in Me. And I will say that the anthology, this is an anthology. It's supposed to more or less have a path in common or a theme or something. And this idea is suggested by you, by the curator. So as you had in Until Dawn, you also have here a character that is trying to guide you through your path and commenting on your decisions, questioning what you could have done and what you did. So the curator is there collecting your story, but at the same time he sometimes also judges your decisions or suggests that something could have been done differently, especially when you let characters die, because that's a possibility, right? The good thing about this game, just like in Until Dawn, is that you can revisit the game. I don't feel like doing it, but they are games with replayability, with the replayability value, because as you let characters die, or maybe you could have explored different paths, you see that there are different decisions or different outcomes that you can, go back into the game and explore. But let's see if all the games worked as well. Let's start out with Man of Medan. This is gonna be like fast reviews, talking mainly about the story, because as I've said in Until Dawn, these are more interactive movies than actual games. Of course, you make decisions and that affects the outcome of your story, but they are more of interactive movies, so expect spoilers for these reviews, because you're definitely gonna have them. Even if they are spoilers for my path alone, but still. So, Man of Medan, you have this group of 4 friends? Was it 4? Was it 5? I feel like it's always a group more or less of 5 characters that you explore and make decisions on the lives of. I think it's a group of 4 people that later on have a 5th element. Okay, so you start out with this group. You have 2 people that are, well, if you do the proposal, they are gonna get engaged. I think you can chicken out and not do the proposal. They'll really push for the romance between these 2 characters. They are supposed to be, dating for a while now. You have the brother of the boyfriend, and then you have the brother of the girlfriend, and of course you have the woman that will end up taking them on a boat trip. So it seems that this couple likes diving a lot and searching, for those sunken submarines and ships and all that stuff. And the game tackles the thing of, you need to have permissions and all of that to be able to just go into because if you collect treasure and whatnot, you have to, there's some legal proceedings associated with this kinds of divings, of specific divings. And they do end up finding something that was sunken, and they are not supposed to touch anything, and then they are attacked by pirates. The pirates take them to, or they end up, I'm not sure what happens there, in a very old boat that has something freakish going on. I will say, Every supermassive game has a mechanic where they try to hint at possible futures and decisions. And in this game, it's pictures. So you have pictures hanging on walls that you can observe, and they will show you a possible future. Once again, these pictures don't do nothing for me because I don't understand. Of course, they are supposed to be enigmatic, not to give you the answer straight up, but I don't feel like they help, so I ignore most of them, and even when I do encounter, I don't feel like they are a very huge help. I was able to actually, because the stories do start with kind of a supernatural vibe, and I quickly understood that there's supposed to be like a logical explanation, more scientific to what is happening. And the explanation here is, and I was what? In the middle of the game, which is not very long, and I was like, this is so obvious. They have here some kind of hallucinogenic gas that is making them see illusions, and these illusions show these freakish horrors that they are seeing, people that are around them being distorted, and thanks to that, I was actually able, because there's a character that is presented as one of those monsters, and if I had attacked the monster, like the game suggests you to do, I would have killed one of the characters probably, and thanks to my quick thinking of resisting the urge of killing the monster, I was able to save a character. I was actually really pissed in that game because I was trying to save the girlfriend. There's this very tense conversation where the brother and the girlfriend, the brother of the boyfriend and the girlfriend, sorry, I don't remember the names because honestly, just like in Until Dawn, I really didn't connect with the characters. There's a moment where they are talking with one of the pirates that took them to that boat. And you know, the guy is very affected by the gas, saying that there are monsters, people transforming into monsters and all that, and he's holding both of them at gunpoint. And you have to be very careful with what you say in those moments, because you give one wrong answer and the guy shoots at least one of them. And I gave one wrong answer and the girlfriend died. And I was really pissed because I was able to save everyone else. I did the best decisions up until that point. So that was one of the few games where I loaded a past save and went back to save her and was able to finish the game with all of the characters alive. So that was a plus, but I was really pissed with that moment because, don't get me wrong, I had to do that conversation a lot of times because you have to answer like 4 or 5 questions, not sure, and I would end up selecting one wrong answer and would have to, do it again to be able to save her. But the game was interesting. I will say that the first game, Man of Medan, has a lot of issues. Very stiff models, this very awkward moment where she's smiling and the smile disappears in the next second, so unnatural. The way that some dialogues just don't connect with the things that you say, I have given many examples, but one moment where I chose something like, oh, no need to be so scared, it was just a rat, and the girl, are you calling me crazy? It just, I understand it's supposed to depict a scary scenario where everyone is on edge, but at the same time, it was really out of line and out of character, but there are even worse moments. It's just, there's no words. The dialogues are very wonky and the animations for the characters are too. Moving on to Little Hope. So Little Hope presents you once again a set of 5 characters. You have these 5 characters that are going on a bus and the road is cut and they have to make, a slight detour to a ghost town, and there in the ghost town the phones are out. It seems like the town is mostly abandoned. They go into a bar, they talk a little with the guy, and as soon as the first conversation comes in, I know exactly what is going on. He talks with the guy that is sitting on the counter. You have 2 characters interacting with him, and he's like, we just need your help. And the guy just screams at him, there's no we. And I was like, no, this guy has some personality disorder, like split personality or something. The answer is a little bit more complicated than that, but yeah, you honestly only have one character. You're seeing five, but it's one guy imagining the other four. And you, right at the beginning, you are able to decipher this if you're just a little bit attentive to the dialogues with the people outside of the group of five characters. And that for me, actually, the confirmation of I was suspecting of this, but the confirmation that there was actually only one character makes everything so stupid, because what is the point of saving the other characters if only one of them is real? Why am I trying even to save the other characters? What's the point? They are not real, they are not alive. What am I saving? Different parts of this guy's personality? What am I saving? But basically the reason why he's seeing all these people, it's because they're supposed to be his family. There was a fire that broke out at his house. He feels a little bit guilty about that because he was the one that put the kettle on the stove and he was not paying attention to the situation. His sister put a doll next to the fire broke out. Basically, he was the only one surviving and he blames himself, so he kind of imagines his family, you know, walking around that town, because I think it's supposed to be his hometown, not sure. And you also have the mechanics. This time it's not pictures, it's postcards. Once again, I think they did offer me some guidance where I avoided certain things. Like there was one vision where you could see one of the characters holding a pistol, and I did find the pistol, but I was like, no, get rid of that, I don't want that because it's gonna put someone in danger. I wouldn't pick up the pistol either way because I see no point, but the character tries to convince you like it may be useful for self-protection, maybe not. And they did influence me in some way, but once again, not very helpful. They are very cryptic, and for me, they don't give enough hints for what I should do with my decisions or not. Actually, I think I was more angry because I would make the bad scenarios come true unknowingly, so it would give me more frustration than any help. I also didn't understand because, you know, this is a game that is exploring the psyche of one character. And, you know, this dude is trying to deal with his traumas and, you know, in the way he lost his family members. And you have this juxtaposition because he enjoys the trials of Salem for the witches, and you have like this historical part and the actual incidents with his family, and he's mixing both of them. And you have the historical figures dying in the same way as his family members, and they come and haunt them in real life, of course everything inside this guy's mind, and they try to kill them and drag them into their deaths. And you're supposedly able to avoid this, and if they are in a critical moment, if you have these bad feelings like anxiety, dread, you know, they show you a lot of personality traits. And I was like, I'm none of this. What am I? If I'm a goody two shoes, I'm punished by that? I didn't understand. If anyone knows how that worked, please do tell me, because at the end, I was only able to save the guy that was real and his supposed mother. Everyone else died to their historical counterpart. I was kind of frustrated with Little Hope, I will not lie. Then we move on to House of Ashes. Now we have a completely different setting. I think it's supposed to be the Iraqian War. I think it's something like that. I think it's when America was sending forces to Iraq. The only character I do remember is Salim, because he was the first character in these games where I was like, Salim is precious and I need to save him because he's the best guy in here. And I loved Salim's character, I really enjoyed it. By the way, you will see and recognize these are live action people, these are real actors, and in this game you actually have Ashley Tisdale, which was one of the few that I actually recognized because of High School Musical. And I did enjoy the character that she did, not my favorite character, but I did enjoy her performance. Then I was trying to understand what was going on, because this almost made me think of Until Dawn, like these grotesque creatures that seemed like Wendigos and whatnot. And I was like, maybe this is the first actual supernatural thing, or maybe I'm just not seeing what's the rational explanation, because it cannot be, again, a hallucinogenic gas, right? So I was all the time trying to guess, and guess what these dudes said to me? Aliens. I can't believe they pulled the aliens card. And yeah, it's still more or less a rational scientific explanation, but dubious, really. I mean, you even get to see a guy from centuries ago that is somehow still alive, connected to alien technology or whatever that's supposed to be. I did like that they had like this, the aliens had this connection to music, and they were speculating that they were once peaceful and music was a language, a way of communication for them. That was really interesting, but at the end of the day it amounts to nothing, because they were creatures that were, you know, just attacking anything alive. They only came out at night because they were sensitive to light. They also, if they bit or harmed anyone, people would start getting infected. You see that with one of the characters. I don't know if it was a good decision to just keep it close to me. I ended up only getting 3 guys to survive, but one of them was Salim, so I'm happy with that. There was also a moment where I was really pissed with that game, which was when in the beginning one of the dudes falls into the crater, and there's one of the creatures, and they are more or less, they don't see very well, so they kind of use echolocation to go after their prey. And the guy was screaming in pain, so the other guy said to me, oh, just hold him and cover his mouth. And you had this quick time action where you were pressing square, you know, to keep him, you know, his mouth shut. And then I didn't understand what to say, because I thought if the quick time action is appearing, I have to do it. Apparently not. I killed that character because I deprived him of oxygen. What do you mean, game? What do you mean? I was so pissed at that situation. But like I said, it was a very interesting game, the first one where I actually chose a favorite character, so I was happy with that. And it's a lesson about having a common enemy and being, you know, of different countries. Doesn't really matter when you have that. And Salim is the embodiment of that, because he is in a war he doesn't want to be, and he really doesn't understand why this is even a thing. Why does he have to go to a war that doesn't even have an explanation to it? And I really sympathized with Salim's character. Then we move on to The Devil in Me. So now we have a group of people that are in a serial killer's documentary or show. So they do these programs about serial killers, and they are talking about that very famous American killer, Holmes, H.H. Holmes, I think it's something like that. I don't remember the full name, but it's a historical figure and an actual serial killer that existed. And they are contacted by this guy that is supposed to be the owner of a mansion where they are trying to simulate the hotel where Holmes killed his victims. So Holmes had this house where people went as if it was, a regular hotel, and then there were traps, secret passageways where he was able to commit various crimes, kill a huge number of people. I think it was over 100. I think the game also shows the number, and someone just decided to make a replica of that. And they go, this hotel is in the middle of an island, no way to get there besides a ferry, and they take away their cell phones, and I'm like, how are these group of 5 people? No one sees that this is a red flag. Except for Jamie. Jamie was, once again, my favorite character in one of these games, because she is the only one that is like, people, this is bullshit. We are all gonna die here because this is so suspicious. And she's the only one saying this. Also, this was the only game where I was able, without going back, to save all the characters. And it was just an amount of coincidences, one after the other. There was one moment where I thought I was gonna lose a character and I was able to save it at the last second. There was one moment where I was really sacrificing a character because it was one of those decision games where do I kill this one or do I kill that one? And I chose the right character, and she was able to survive due to having an item in her possession. By the way, talking about items, this is the first game where you are presented with an inventory. So this game had a little bit more exploration, and you were able to grab items and hold on to them. You have only, I think, 4 slots, and one of them is already occupied because each character has like a set of tools or abilities. But it was really interesting that they had this inventory mechanic where you were able to grab keys or grab other items like an ice pick. That was the thing that saved my character, and hold on to them to use it in future situations. So I did really enjoy they putting the mechanic of an inventory. That was a very welcome change in the mechanics. But it was really interesting. At the end of the day, I wasn't able to uncover the serial killers because this was a copycat. And then they were also suggesting that something supernatural was happening. And I was like, at the end of the day, everyone saved and escaped with their lives. I did confront the serial killer more than once, but his identity was not revealed at any point, and they kind of give you like an ominous image to finish it off, like will he come back, who is this person? I didn't really understand the point of this because there was no actual plot twist to the game nor an actual revelation. It's kind of weird. It felt a little bit, it was an interesting experience, don't get me wrong, but it was at the same time, it seemed a little bit off with the other ones, because the other ones, it's always the same idea. They present you with something supernatural and then give you a logical explanation. From the get-go, this was a very simple concept, so there was logic every step of the way. Are you getting what I'm trying to say? But I was happy with the experience. I will be looking forward to playing the second volume of the Dark Pictures Anthology. I'm not sure if they want to do a total of 8 games, but I know they have already teased, and I don't remember the title, the 5th game, which is supposedly going to happen in space. So let's see how that will work. If I think these games should be sold at a full price, we're talking about maybe 50, 60, 70 euros in case of the PS5 games. Honestly, not for me. They are short experiences. Of course, they have replayability value, but I'm not sure it is enough, at least for me, to be able to spend that money on a single game that is, very short in what it has to offer. Because, of course, it has some value going back into the game, exploring the decisions you weren't able to make. But for me, I like to think that even though I wanted to save all the characters, I like to think that this is like a one chance thing, and I think it adds value thinking like that. Like, your decisions are locked in and there's nothing you can do about it. But do feel free to share your thoughts on these games. What decisions did you make? What other moments left you frustrated or elated at the outcomes? What are your suggestions? What are your critiques? And if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like. Subscribe, go follow my Twitch channel for more content live and my reactions. And main music always be your life force.